All right, here we go.
Candyman is directed by Nina DaCosta and stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Tainoa Paris, and Coleman Domingue. And this is one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. I was so excited when I found out there was, well, not, at first not that excited, like, oh, they're gonna make another Candyman, but then when I found out Jordan Peele was part of the process, one of the writers and producers of the movie, I was super excited because Jordan Peele is one of my favorite filmmakers today. I love Get Out, I love Us, I really love that movie, and I feel like he's one of he has such a unique perspective on doing horror and movies. So knowing that he's going to be involved in it, creating a new version of Candyman, I was actually very excited. Now this movie is directed by Nina DaCosta, who this is like her first like really big movie, tackling a franchise, who's been a part of this franchise. And she does a really good job of the movie. The direction is actually very good. The story focus on Yahya, who plays an artist named Anthony, who had a bit of fame, but now he kind of looking, he can't really find, he's looking for the new inspiration for his new piece, and also kind of having a deadline because he have to put out a piece for this art gallery that he's involved with. And he kind of reminiscence, it's kind of the story of this artist who's looking for, his inspiration. And by looking for inspiration, he finds out the story about Candyman, about, the tragedy that happened with him. And not the actually Candyman that got killed in the 1900s. The Candyman, of Chicago, the man who gave kids sweets to kids and then got brutally killed by the police, who was innocently charged. So, he uses that story as kind of, for his art and kind of bring awareness of it again. And the movie does a good job of not just repeating the stuff from the last movie where, where it's just like, oh, this is the same beats over and over again. It takes the stuff from the old movie and put it in today's times. Like, how the police brutality of that time affects now these times and how people view of it and people's perspective of those times and, how they see it differently and how it's actually not that much different, how it's side to side. This whole talks a lot about race, about police brutality in this movie and how in this movie it was very interesting and very engaging in the movie. And it's not done in a very one-sided way. It's done in a very, both-sided ways. Like you see how an innocent man was beaten to death by the police because of some assumptions and how this infected the whole neighborhood and how it changed a lot of things. And now, very interesting, the whole narrative and story. Like I said, when we follow this artist, he finds out more about the story of Candyman, and where once he does that, something strange happens. He's starting to get more and more crazy, more weird stuff happening. He's starting to see Candyman as himself in a reflection. His arm is starting to dissolve and deteriorate in a really weird way. He knows something weird is starting to happen, and it's so as we see it, more strange things turn to happen. He's not getting along with his girlfriend anymore. And murder started to happen as soon as he put out his piece. People are bringing back the name of Candyman. The past kind of returns again. History repeats itself in a way. And now the movie, like I said, the movie's done very interestingly. And what I like about the movie allows to take itself time. It's not like, oh, we have to go to this. No, the movie takes its time to really have characters sit down, talk, reminisce, let the scene breathe. Which also can be the down points of the movie, because at times the pacing can feel slow because of that, and not a lot of it is explored as I wish it has been. Because the acting is phenomenal in this movie. Yahya Abdul does a really great job, and so does everybody else, especially Coleman Domingue. I really loved, he was one of my favorite characters in the movie, but I really love the performances. That are really great. The story is interesting. At times the movie can feel a little bit slow because of the movie takes a time, and the pacing of it. And I really wish that we have dove more into the craziness that happens, because like I said, Anthony is starting to, weird things starting to happen to him. His hand is starting to basically, I don't know, turn into something weird, and that he's really readily calm about it. which I don't know was a very interesting choice or was like, you know, him not accepting or ignoring the signs. And that's what I think was some problems with some of the character developments in this story, because like I wish we would have gotten more into like the psyche of him realizing what's starting to happen to him, which we kind of don't get. It's kind of like, you know, it's sort of like he acts like it's sort of normal, and we don't really get like what I really wish we would have gotten like more into him starting to go crazy, starting to realize people not trusting him, like to go more into this, because I was so interesting and investigated in the movie that I wanted to find out more. I wanted to see him more go into that, you know, different state of the movie. And the same is also with Candyman. They have a really great idea, which I'm not going to spoil, on how Candyman basically keeps reappearing and never dies. They never really explain the mythology of it, which I don't need like, you know, an exhibition scene of a character going, oh, because of this, but I really wish we would have delved more in the mythology on how the actually Candyman works, because they kind of explain things, but then stuff happens and character choices switch very fast in a way, and like some character choices you don't really understand is because they don't give the insight into those characters. It's kind of like you only find out about some characters to a certain point, but then in the third act they do something completely different, which comes out of nowhere, which I kind of think was the down part. I really wish they would delve in more into the mythology of the movie, on how Candyman and how his spirit and how everything works, how it's, they explain how it's connected to Yaya's character, but like, I wish we have, like I said, we've gotten more to see into his craziness that's happening. And when it comes to like, once we see Candyman, we get to see him a couple times in the movie, we do not get to see really often the kills, which I know like in the first movie it wasn't like super bloody, gory, and you got to see a lot of kills. But this time the direction did a different choice of like, for example, there's one shot of one person getting killed and the camera starts panning back and like to sort of, I don't know, it just like pans back from the horror. It's actually, it wasn't as scary. And there's another scene, like if you see in the trailer, of those girls in the bathroom in the school calling Candyman, Candyman. And you see like, you know, just some hitting at the door, and you see like this little, the little mirror, and you see like a little bit of Candyman. I thought that was like edited, you know, they only show that for the trailer, but that's actually how the scenes play out. You do not get to see Candyman kill very often. Except in the third act, you get to see here and there, but I kind of feel like they were like, didn't want to show the violence, or like didn't want to show Candyman kill people, which is like, this is a horror movie. Like, of course, people want to see the kills. It's like one of the most exciting parts of the horror movies is seeing the executions of the kills, basically. And we do get that in a while, but there are some choices where I think like they really could have shown a really cool killing scene of Candyman. And I don't mean like you have to show like blood, guts, and flying around like in a Saw movie, or, you know, no, but I was like, interesting kills like Friday the 13th. There are so many kills, but they're done in such a fun and creative way. And this movie is a very creative, it's very investigating, it's an interesting movie of this artist starting to go crazy, you know, starting to see weird stuff happen to him. But like I said, we don't really get that much of character development, or you don't really get to see like kind of his more perspective of it. The first act of the movie is really great, it's really strong. I really love the first act. The second act is also good, but I feel like I think they should have delved more into the characters, you know, and their perspective and their views, and just like I wanted more out of the characters than we got, basically. And in the third act is kind of like a quick, all of a sudden it becomes like more horror. Like if, for example, like I said, because the movie takes a time, then all of a sudden stuff just rushes into, you know, stuff just happens for the third act and out of nowhere, basically. And I was like, whoa, see, and that's like kind of thing, if they would like, didn't always take as much time for some scenes that were unnecessary, it would actually work a lot better. But not to go too much on this movie, the movie wasn't also as much suspenseful, really. That was kind of like one thing what I loved about the first Candyman is that movie is super suspenseful with Tiny Todd and his voice, you know, it's just, come for me. And everything, like, it was very suspenseful, like, every time somebody said Candyman. In this movie, it's not really that. There are a couple scenes that are quite suspenseful, but not really that was like, oh my god, you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Or it's kind of feel was like missing. Like, this is not a bad movie. The movie's done very well. It's a very interesting, it's a very great movie. Just, I feel like, I wish we've got more of how the mythology of Candyman really works in this movie. And I really wish we've gotten more, like, characters would have got a little bit more development, because then during the third act it would make more sense, because I kind of feel like the whole back informations and then characters do stuff at the third act that doesn't quite add up and it comes kind of out of nowhere. And also said, Stewart-Jarrett in the movie that I almost mentioned is very hilarious. He was the funniest part of the entire movie. As kind of the comic relief in the movie, but he was hilarious and great point. Overall, the movie is really great. I was very excited about the movie. This is one of the movies that, like, after I got out of the theater, it was so refreshing to go in the cinema and watch it. Like, I was keep thinking and reminiscing and thinking about the characters and the choices that they did. And I want to revisit the movie. I think when a movie does that, the movie's done something right. If you think about the movie, you know, and want to revisit. So, because oftentimes, like, you go to a movie and forget about it, that's for me, that's my opinion, bad movie. If you don't go out of the movie like thinking like, oh, what about this and this and that, that's where I think really shows how great the movie is. And I really hope they make a sequel, and I wish they would explore more the characters and the Candyman world and everything, because other than all, this movie is great. I had a lot of fun with it. Just I wish we would have gotten a little bit like, I guess we have shown the kills a little bit more and a little bit more of, you know, character development in the movie. Like there were, I feel this movie was like holding back for some reason, which I wanted the movie like to, you know, go full. I wanted to basically like go crazy, like James Gunn went crazy on Suicide Squad. But other than that, we do get to see Tiny Todd in the movie. Like, I'm not gonna say when, but once we do get to see him, I was just like, yeah, it's Candyman. That was very exciting. That was a great cameo by him. But like, I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. Candyman, let me know what you think of the movie. Did you like the new Candyman? Did you didn't like Candyman? And thanks everybody for watching. As always, see you next time.